of America's renters are living on borrowed time. Government bans on eviction have now expired. Federal rent relief dollars are drying up. Double-digit inflation means that families are struggling against big rent increases and have less money to pay their other bills. The result, eviction filings in some of the nation's biggest cities are at the highest point since the start of the pandemic. According to Princeton University's Eviction Lab, landlords in 5 cities, Houston, Dallas, New York, Fort Worth, and Phoenix, filed more than 4,800 evictions between April 10th and April 16th. Diane Yantel is an expert on affordable housing policy. She's the president and CEO of the National Low-Income Housing Coalition. Thank you for talking with me. We're in a full market economy, so there are lots of jobs. And at the same exact time, we're seeing this absolute crisis unfolding. What's causing this crisis?
So we had a federal eviction moratorium, the first of its kind in our country's history. Congress provided $46.5 billion to help low-income tenants pay the rent or back rent that they fell behind on during the pandemic. So in these communities where rents are increasing, where emergency rental assistance money has been depleted, where protections for tenants have expired, sure enough, we're seeing eviction filings reach, or in an increasing number of cities, far surpass pre-pandemic averages.
I think if there's nationally a housing shortage, then certainly if you're looking at affordable housing, that's got to be multiplied as a problem.
So nationally, for the lowest income renters, for them, there is a shortage of 7 million apartments affordable and available to them. We have over 10 million of the lowest income families that are paying at least half of their income towards rent each month. So when you have such limited income to begin with, and you pay so much of it for your rent, you are always one unexpected emergency, a broken down car, a missed day of work, a sick child, away from missing rent and facing eviction, or in worst cases, homelessness.
What's the face of a person who's being evicted?
It's predominantly women. It's predominantly Black women. So Black women have evictions filed against them nationally at about twice the rate that white women do. So these disparities are a result of decades of systemic racism, racist housing policies.
For many people, the eviction leads to getting a lawyer or starting a legal process. What happens to those families who are caught in a legal system without enough lawyers to be helping them navigate this?
About 90% of landlords have legal representation when they go to eviction court to evict a tenant, and fewer than 10% of tenants have any kind of legal assistance to help them defend their homes. This is one reason why what's called right to counsel exists, and why it's so important to ensure that those low-income tenants can have access to a legal aid attorney or some other attorney that is affordable to them.
You've laid out some of the problems, but I want to talk about solutions for a moment.
The biggest challenge facing some communities and renters in those communities is that the emergency rental assistance that was provided during the pandemic has run out. So states and cities need to use other resources to supplement those emergency rental assistance programs. And then, yes, for the long term, certainly it requires the federal government to intervene and provide subsidies and other resources to make homes affordable to the lowest income people.
Diane Yantel is the president of the National Low-Income Housing Coalition. Thank you for talking with me.
Thanks for having me.